If it means saving the life of a child who reminds them just a little too much of themselves, Bruce and Dick will transverse the globe to get the job done. What'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Nightwing issue number 111 and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we're treated to a very important thematic flashback to Dick Grayson's early days inside the Batcave when Bruce was first teaching him how to fight. Back in those days, he was angry, very angry, an anger that Bruce knows all too well. Even after they stopped sparring, Dick just kept coming at him because, well, he didn't know what else to do. Bruce says that this anger is fine and understandable, but that Dick will ultimately need to learn to leave it in the cave, because when they go out at night as Batman and Robin, they're not going out there to punish individuals. They're going out there to protect those in need, and the hard part of that job is you never know exactly why someone is acting out. Maybe they have that same anger inside them. This, of course, as Batman puts it, will always be the great divide between the vigilantes and the superheroes. Superheroes go out in the night to try and make the world better for everyone, while vigilantes far too often go out in service of their own anger. And yes, Batman admits that sometimes even he is guilty of doing this, but that he doesn't want the same for Dick. He hopes Dick will ultimately be better. Flash forward to the present, and Nightwing is having breakfast with Barbara. Barbara's actually getting all inundated with messages now from Bruce ever since Dick admitted to him at the end of the last issue how he's having problem with heights. And now he won't leave the issue alone, A, because he's a concerned parent, and B, because he's the greatest detective on Earth now given a mystery to solve, which is like giving a dog a bone, really. Dick's not really thinking straight, though, because he's still concerned about Ico, that boy from the end of the last issue who had his father murdered in a style similar to Heartless, but for whom all the different clues just don't seem to add up. Nightwing tries to investigate where the boy's Uncle Locke is currently living, and wouldn't you know it, Batman already beat him to the scene because he's thinking the exact same stuff. Turns out Locke ran with the boy in the middle of the night, and a couple minutes on his computer proves everything that the dynamic duo had feared. Locke had murdered the boy's father and made it look like Heartless did it, all in an attempt to steal the family fortune and abscond to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, meaning that Batman and Nightwing are on the move for a road trip. Oh, but they're not going to be flying commercial, and because Batman sadly doesn't have access to jet money at the moment, yeah, I know, his fortune always goes up and down depending on who's writing it. So instead they decide to hitch a ride on the brand new T-Jet over at Titan's Tower, which, hey, that was just introduced in the Titans book, which, of course, Tom Taylor also writes. This is a fun little aside, too, to get to see Batman hanging out with the rest of the Titans team. As the narration puts it, unlike the Justice League that came together because they were all exceptional professionals, the Titans team was different. They coalesced around Nightwing and were always an eternal family, even through all the many ups and downs. Also, in a lovely bit of characterization, Beast Boy takes this opportunity to talk to Batman about his own unique situation right now, being hated and feared by the world following the events of Beast World. Batman, as has been a major theme throughout this series, actually puts on his fathering cap and actually does a really good job giving Garfield advice, saying, hey, did you save those people? Did you save the world? Then you don't need to worry. Anyone who would give you a hard time is too blinded by the torch and pitchfork in front of their face. I know you're a hero, Nightwing knows you're a hero, and that's all that should matter. Goddamn, Dark Knight, any more fatherly and you're gonna start playing catch with Beast Boy any minute. Another really compelling thing about this issue that you may have noticed is, despite being a Nightwing story, Batman is actually doing all of the internal monologue, which means we get a chance to see Nightwing from the outside looking in. Batman wants some of Dick's blood, figuring that maybe this whole newfound fear of heights might be more than just mental. We also learn a little bit more about this case that the dynamic duo is working right now. Apparently, Locke's father was actually heir to a major Vietnamese telecom company. He inherited the position from his dead wife, who was killed in a car accident that more and more looks like another mysterious murder. The big sticking point is that Ico's father never actually wanted to go back to Vietnam, feeling that it would be too stressful for his son to move away from his home and school and friends. A fact of which almost certainly got him killed, because as Uncle Locke ends up touching down in Vietnam, he has an entire armed security force waiting for him. Not that they're much of a match for our heroes, Nightwing especially taking all of this very, very personally, what with him seeing a lot of himself in young Ico's position. As such, he doesn't even bother quipping or bantering as he beats the crap out of the hired henchman. In Batman's internal monologue, he paints a vivid picture about how simpatico he and Dick are when it comes to fighting. He always knows how to block him, which means he always knows his back is covered, and how as Nightwing has grown and matured, he has only become a more proficient fighter, being able to take down foes in basically one hit without hurting them all that badly. Though he most certainly wants to hit this Locke guy badly, especially when he ends up taking the poor boy Aiko hostage with a gun, Dick heroically charges full on into the firing range and ends up eating a whole bullet just so the kid will be safe. When Nightwing finally gets his hand on this guy too, Batman notices a very familiar sense of rage come across Dick's face. He's not 100% sure what he's going to do to this guy, and while Batman says that he could forgive him, Nightwing ultimately stays his hand and does nothing, remembering everything that Bruce taught him in the cave all those years ago. In fact, this story really tugs at your heartstring when Nightwing says, "Hey kid, go to Batman, he'll protect you, he's always protected me." As the comic comes to an end, Batman admits he doesn't know what will happen to this Aiko kid, but he knows that Dick will do everything in his power to keep him safe because it's what he taught him, it's what their family has always done and always will do. And so that was Nightwing issue number 112, everybody, and I gotta say this was a really strong finale to a really strong two-pack of issues. Again, this one didn't need apocalyptic world-ending stakes, it didn't need a big-time costumed villain, it just needed Batman and Nightwing hanging out dealing with a case that they both felt very strongly about. It's the emotional resonance that really puts this one over the top, and it's something that Tom Taylor manages to pull off here expertly. It's a story all about how Nightwing and Batman are characters born from such grief, such loss, and so trauma, but how they've strived to master themselves and make it so that other people don't have to go through what they've gone through. How it's their care and love and sympathy that ultimately makes them the heroes that they are, what pushes them from just regular men into the realm of super. More than any of the gadgets or the money or the trappings, they fight because they care, and it's why we keep coming back to read their adventures. It's really just a beautiful story, maybe one of my favorites I've read this year, even though it's probably one of the most simple and to the point. I would give this one a much deserved 9 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.